Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and for today's Christmas card I am using a whole bunch of different Die-namics dies from My Favorite Things, and this is for this week's Color Throwdown Challenge, which I'm not as late on. So I did all my die cutting first, and then as I was looking at these are the dies from the Dear Love Die-namic set, and they have these two great antler dies, and I was thinking how cool it would be to make them kind of like glittery, and I say glittery somewhat loosely. I showed this in a haul video not too long ago. This is the Stickles Rock Candy Distress Glitter. It looks more like snow or sugar, really, than your standard, like, really iridescent, sparkly glitter. I love it. So I wanted to coat these with it, and I wasn't sure at first what to do, and I hit upon this, and it was perfect. So I just have the die cuts on my nonstick craft mat here, and then I was squeezing out some Nuvo glue right onto the craft mat, and then I just cut up one of my ink blending sponges. Any sponge will work, like a makeup sponge, whatever. But I had one of these handy, so I just cut up a small piece for it, and then I was just picking up the glue with the sponge, dabbing it onto the antlers, and then just pressing them into the container. I had the coffee filter here in case I was going to pour it over, but the container was big enough to just press that into there. And that's all there was to it. Super simple. I'm going to let those dry. The sponge, if you clean it before the glue dries, you can reuse this over and over again. So I'm probably going to do this a whole lot more throughout my Christmas card making because it's just fun. So just wiped the glue off my mat, cleaned up the sponge, and it was good to go. So I'm going to get to assembling all these different little elements here. So I die cut the deer bodies from some Grout Gray cardstock from MFT. And then I'd run the die through and had die cut the two little circles that are for their noses. And I used black cardstock. I did think about doing one of them in red. I thought that would be really cute, just that tiny little pop of red. But I stuck with the black. I really liked this color combo. I honestly, when I first saw it for the challenge, I was like, I don't know, sometimes certain color combos just don't do it for me, But then I start creating with it, and I end up absolutely loving. The more I started putting all these elements together, I was like, I love this, because it was a darker blue, lighter blue, and gray. So I used the two shades of gray for the deer bodies, the lighter Grout Gray, and then this was cement gray that I'd use for their antlers, just for that little bit of definition there. And to adhere these antlers, I just put little dabs of glue on the back of these, not, all over the entire pieces, just here and there. And then I press on the cardstock, and I just put an acrylic block over it to hold it in place so that it could adhere fully to the cardstock. And then for my sentiments, I'm using the large Peace Die-namics. And it's all one piece, so that works perfectly. So I lined it up on my card front here, and then I'm just using my little T-square ruler and leaving the ruler in place so that I've got kind of a visual guide to adhere all of these letters so that they're all straight. And I'm going to start with the center letter, the A, because if I work from the center and then work my way out on either side, it's more likely that this will all, line up decently. So I used my Darice foam strips to apply foam adhesive to the back of these. You could use regular foam adhesive and just trim it down, but I love my Darice foam strips. I'm so thankful to the subscriber that sent me like a whole pack of these. I don't feel the need or as much of a need to hoard them like I was with my original pack. I'm actually using them. So yeah, I cut down little strips of that and pop this up. You could adhere it just flat to the card and still have some like definition because it's all die cut and layers and everything. But I really liked the look of it popped up. So I adhered those, and then this ampersand dies, I'm sorry, it was retired quite some time ago from MFT. I pulled it out of my stash, I still had it, and I really wanted to use it because I couldn't just adhere the word joy over it. It bothered me not to have it say properly peace and joy. So you could use even just a little stamp or another die, anything like that. But I die cut that from that same cement gray cardstock and just adhered that over the A. And then the Joy Die-namics, I had die cut from some blueberry cardstock and used a little bit of foam tape on the bottom portions and then a little bit of glue so I could adhere it as well, kind of layering it over top. I was just loving how everything was just layering in these colors, how they worked together. It was just, loved it. So add a little dab of glue so I can get the dot to the J in place. And then to complete the sentiment, I'm using the Dashing Deer stamp set. First, I'm going to hear one little blue snowflake from the Let It Snowflake 2 Dynamics. And then I pulled out the Dashing Deer stamp set because I needed something that said Wishing You. So there was, I think, Wishing You Peace this holiday, I think is what it said, but I only wanted the first part. So I grabbed a scrap of black cardstock, and then I have the Wishing You sentiment, and I only inked up the first 2 words there with my VersaMark ink. And then I had the Season's Greetings stamp from that same set, so I inked that up as well, and I'm just stamping them along the bottom of this black cardstock. I had already used my anti-static powder tool on there just to keep the embossing powder from clinging to anything other than the stamped sentiments. So coated those with some white embossing powder and then melted that with my heat tool. Once everything's melted, I can use my paper trimmer, and I'm just using my little Tim Holtz Tonic trimmer. A lot of people asking me what my thoughts are on this now that I've been using it for a few weeks now. I absolutely love it. My only drawback with this is I wish it was longer so I could cut an entire sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock lengthwise. That would make it kind of perfect, but the whole point of this is to be kind of smaller to fit, you know, on your desk. So I just need to get a bigger one. I love the Tonic guillotine trimmers. They're fabulous. So that's my 2 cents mini 5-second review on that. So after trimming it down, I adhered that to my card front, which the white cardstock I die cut with one of the A2 rectangle STAX Set 2 Dynamics dies. And then my card base is that same light blue cardstock. This is Blue Breeze cardstock from MFT. And I die cut several of the same elements for the inside of the card just to finish it off. So I had another blue snowflake, another one of these deer die cut from the Grout Gray cardstock. I'd added the little nose. I'm going to adhere that into place, and then I die cut another set of antlers here. These I didn't coat with glitter. I just wanted to keep these simple. And same thing, very light little dabs of glue here and there. The whole thing doesn't need to be covered. It doesn't take much to adhere these down. And then that other sentiment that I had stamped and embossed, I'm going to add my adhesive to that, and then figure out where I wanted to place that on the inside of my card. And I really liked how this turned out. I was like, this would work for a card front as well, to do a bit more clean and simple. So if I'd had the time, I would have made another one very similar and added the glitter, of course, to the antlers for the outside of the card. So I'm going to adhere my card front to my card base, and that finishes off today's card. So I will have a link to my blog post below the video. I'll have a link to all the supplies used. I'll have a link to the color challenge. Check that out below if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting on my videos. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye.